You're standing in a kitchen. There's music playing somewhere in the background. People are laughing in rooms you can't see. And somehow, you've ended up talking to someone you actually wanted to talk to. For a minute, it's going well. You ask where they're from. They ask what you do. You both laugh about something small, and then nothing. Your brain immediately starts searching. Ask another question. Say something funny. Don't make this awkward. And somehow, the harder you try to think of something to say, the emptier your mind becomes. If you've ever experienced this, you've probably come to the same conclusion most people do. I'm just bad at conversation. But here's the strange thing. The people who never run out of things to say aren't better at coming up with topics. They almost never change the topic at all. Instead, they keep asking 3 questions. What happened? How did that feel? What's the story there? And that's pretty much the entire secret. Because most conversations don't end because we run out of topics. They end because we leave them too early. Think about it. Someone says, "I'm from Chicago." Most people respond, "Oh, cool," and immediately start searching for the next topic. But someone else might ask, "Do you miss it?" And then, "What do you miss the most?" Suddenly, you're not talking about a city anymore. You're talking about childhood, memory, and home. The conversation didn't become interesting because someone found a better topic. It became interesting because someone stayed with the original one. So why don't we do that? Because during conversations, most of us are trying to do 2 things at once. We're trying to listen, and we're trying to perform. The moment we decide we need to sound interesting, funny, or impressive, we stop paying attention to what the other person is actually saying. And when that happens, our mind goes blank. Not because there was nothing left to say, but because we stopped noticing what was worth exploring. The people who seem like they can talk to anyone hear conversations differently. Most of us hear information. They hear possibilities. Because almost every sentence contains at least 3 conversations hidden inside it. The fact, the emotion, and the story. If someone says, "I moved to a new city last year," you can ask about the fact. Why did you move? The emotion. Were you excited or terrified? Or the story. What was your first week there like? That's not 1 topic. That's 3. And once you start listening for facts, emotions, and stories, it's actually very hard to run out of things to say. There's one more thing worth paying attention to. Contradictions. I love people, but I hate parties. Those moments are where people become interesting, because people are often most revealing where they're most conflicted. But maybe the biggest reason we run out of things to say has nothing to do with conversation itself. Most of us don't enter conversations trying to connect. We enter conversations trying not to fail. The hidden goal isn't, "I want to understand this person." It's, "Please don't let this get awkward." And the moment that becomes the goal, every pause feels dangerous. Every silence feels like proof that you're boring, awkward, or unlikable. But the people who seem naturally charismatic experience those same awkward moments. The difference is that they don't treat them as evidence that they're failing. They treat them as part of the process. And then they become curious again. So the next time you're talking to someone and your brain tells you you've run out of things to say, don't search for a new topic. Look for a new layer. Ask yourself, what happened? How did that feel? What's the story there? And if you still don't know what to say, ask one final question. What would I genuinely want to know if I weren't trying to impress this person? Because the people who can talk to anyone were never the people with the best scripts. They were the people who stayed curious after everyone else decided the conversation was over.